Welcome, future and current Warhammer scholars. This is a series where I, an ignorant noob, read lore. I've played some Warhammer games, and I know there's a guy called the Emperor whom I praise, of course, but I don't know why I praise him. And I think I'll find that out today, because in today's video, we're covering the Imperium. I'm mainly just reading off of the wiki. I obviously can't just read the books to you because that would be copyright. But if you guys have any book suggestions, let me know and I'll definitely insert that knowledge into future videos. Let's get into it. The Imperium of Man, also called simply the Imperium, is a galaxy-spanning interstellar human empire, the ultimate authority for the vast majority of the human species in the Milky Way galaxy in the 41st millennium AD. And already I'm learning something new. I had no idea that Warhammer was based in our reality, just 41,000 AD. It is ruled by the living god who is known as the Emperor of Mankind. I have praised the Emperor many times in games, and genuinely, I have no idea who the Emperor is. So, quick break from the Imperium to go learn a little bit about the Emperor, because I think that the leader of the Imperium is pretty important. The Emperor of Mankind, often referred to by his faithful as the God Emperor, the Master of Mankind, or simply the Emperor, and who sometimes referred to himself as Revelation, known to the forces of chaos as the False Emperor, or the Corpse Emperor, is the immortal Perpetual and Psyker who serves as the reigning monarch of the Imperium of Man, and is described by the Imperial Ecclesiarchy, I hope I'm saying that right, and the Imperial Cult as the Father, Guardian, and God of humanity. The Chaos Gods and the Daemons of the Warp refer to him as the Anathema, for he is the greatest embodiment of universal order in the galaxy today, and the most potent foe of chaos in existence. He was, and remains, the most powerful human psyker to have ever been born. That's fascinating. I had no idea, like genuinely no idea who the Emperor was, and to learn that he's a psyker? That's pretty sick. Okay, that makes sense. He has sat immobile, his body slowly crumbling within the golden throne of Terra for over 10,000 standard years. I'm not sure what standard years mean. Although once a living man, his shattered, decaying body can no longer support life, and it is kept intact only by the cybernetic mechanisms of the Golden Throne and a potent mind itself sustained by the daily sacrifice of thousands of lives. Holy crap, that's metal. That's pretty sick. The Emperor chose to sacrifice his immortal life at the end of the Horus Heresy in the service and protection of mankind to humanity's countless trillions across the galaxy-spanning Imperium. He is nothing less than God. Through his Imperium, humanity is united and remains one of the most powerful, intelligent species in the Milky Way galaxy, as well as its most dominant in terms of both population and territory held. Okay, there are trillions of humans? That's pretty crazy, that's cool to know. The Horus Heresy. I imagine that has to do with some sort of betrayal and chaos. United under one government, mankind is able to survive the myriad deadly threats it faces from aliens, the forces of chaos, and the traitors, heretics, and mutants that lie within the Imperium's boundaries. The Imperium's rule, carried on in the Emperor's name since the end of the Horus Heresy by the High Lords of Terra, and a multitude of Imperial organizations, has been long, oppressive, and necessarily harsh. I don't know the Terra, which is the location of the Emperor. Interesting. It has also resulted in technological and cultural stagnation, and a regression into tyranny, superstition, and religious obfuscation and intolerance that would have horrified the Emperor. So I guess he's not really conscious, but he's still around? Huh. Though he is no longer responsive to external stimuli, the Emperor still lies at the very heart of the Imperium's continued existence. Although he cannot be directly involved in the day-to-day runnings of humanity's galactic government, his existence on the Golden Throne is vital to sustaining the Imperium, since his powerful mind's presence in the Immaterium maintains and directs the Astronomicon, the psychic beacon that makes possible faster-than-light warp travel, and is vital to Imperial shipping, transportation, commerce, and communication. Wow. Dang, okay, so the Emperor literally, he's a pivotal point for everything in the Imperium Empire. That's crazy. However, the maintenance of this beacon requires the aid of other psychers, whose life forces are slowly drained away by the Emperor to power the beacon. 1,000 psychers a day give their lives to maintain the Emperor's psychic strength. Wow. Wow. Okay, so I answered my question before. He is no longer responsive to external stimuli. Okay, so he's really just a vegetable being that is still insanely powerful and pivotal to the day-to-day operations of the Imperium. And then 1,000 psychers a day. I don't know how common psychers are. They have to be fairly common, but at the same time, there are trillions of humans. That kind of makes it easy to find psychers, and that really puts 1,000 a day into perspective. That's pretty minimal. Okay, let's keep going. He is said to still guide his race through the psychically reactive divination tool known as the Emperor's Tarot, which select psychers can consult to gain a glimpse of the future and the Emperor's will. He is also said to constantly battle the Chaos Gods in the warp and prevent their further intrusion upon the material universe. This dude just keeps getting more badass. This dude just keeps getting more sick. That's awesome. His mind must remain vigilant at all times throughout the entire Imperium to safeguard the human race and to offer his protection to the faithful above all else. It is mankind's collective belief in the Emperor's divinity that serves as its greatest protection from chaos and the other hideous dangers that plague the galaxy. As the Imperial Creed has taught for over 10,000 standard years, the Emperor protects. Damn. Alright, let's head back to the Imperium of Man. Is ruled by the living god known as the Emperor of Mankind. That's where we left off. However, there are other humanoid species classified as Imperial citizens, mainly mutant offshoots of genetic baseline humans, who are known as abhumans, and include such human subspecies as the Ogrins, Ratlings, and Squats. Okay, very interesting. I had no idea. Especially about the Ratlings. Are you kidding me? The Ratlings are abhumans? Ogrins kinda makes sense. I don't even know what a squat is. I need to take a look at a picture of a squat. What the heck is a squat? Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta look this up. Oh man, I just got done laughing after learning what a squat is. Okay, so it's a dwarf. It's a dwarf. They look like, bosses. Like, I bet they're tanks. That's just hilarious that they're named squats. Let's keep going. The founder and the ruler of the Imperium is the godlike emperor of mankind, the most powerful human psyker ever born. The emperor founded the Imperium over 10,000 Terran years ago in the late 30th millennium during the unification wars on old Earth, following the apocalyptic period in human history known as the Age of Strife. The Emperor continues, at least nominally, to rule the Imperium as both its political master and its primary religious figure. However, his badly damaged body was interred with the cybernetic life support mechanisms of the arcane device known as the Golden Throne. following his mortal wounding during the ancient interstellar civil war of the Horus Heresy. We hear that name again. I'm getting hyped for the Horus Heresy. Because of this terrible fate, the Emperor is incapable of interacting with others on a day-to-day basis, and has left the basic governance of his Imperium to the Senatorum Imperialis, an oligarchic ruling council of the most powerful noble lords and adepts in the galaxy. The Senatorum Imperialis is currently led by the Emperor's genetic son, Primarch Rub- Robote? Oh, jeez. I'm just gonna use his last name, Primarch Gilliman, who chairs the council and directs imperial policy as the Lord Commander of the Imperium and Imperial Regent. The Imperium of Man is a war-torn stellar empire, teetering on the brink of collapse. For 10,000 Terran years, it has been ruled by the Deathless Emperor, a being of almost limitless psychic power, to whom thousands of souls are sacrificed daily to provide him the psychic strength to maintain the Imperium's lines of communication and transport. Okay, so I didn't need to learn that much about the Emperor before reading onto this. Okay. I'm glad I did though. I'm glad I did. The peoples of the Imperium live in a galaxy where daemons are real, mutation is frequent, and death is a constant companion. To be alive in the 41st millennium is to know that the universe is a terrifying and hostile place. It is a place where you are but one amongst billions, and, no matter how heroic your death, you will not be missed. A truly vast domain. The Imperium is spread amongst the many stars of the galaxy. Its territories encompass untold millions of stars and countless trillions of human lives. In its name, terrible wars are fought and desperate sacrifices made, yet even this river of carnage and blood is a small price to pay, for the Imperium is the guardian of humanity. Were it to pass into nothingness, so too would the human species, destroyed by enemies uncountable, to the braying laughter of the dark gods. Damn, I just got a shiver down my spine. That was sick. Because it's fascinating. I'm really interested to learn more about the chaos. It's not heresy. I want to know why we hate them and who they are, where they come from. They're not from the galaxy. They're in a world between, from the void. Like, this is all craziness. The Imperium is the largest and currently most powerful political entity in the galaxy, consisting of at least 1 million human-settled worlds dispersed across most of the Milky Way galaxy. Consequently, an imperial planet might be separated from its closest neighbor by hundreds or even thousands of light years. Again, that's so sick. 1 million human-settled worlds? So we're just all over the Milky Way galaxy. Okay. Makes me wonder, like, this all sounds like potentially realistic in the world of mankind. Just 41,000 years? Okay, yeah. Anyways, as a stellar empire, the size of the Imperium cannot be measured in terms of continuous territory, but only in the number of planetary systems under its control. However, most humans in the galaxy have little day-to-day contact with the government of the Imperium, unless they serve in one of its bureaucratic adepta, or run afoul of its various protectors, such as the Inquisition or Adeptus Arbites. The Imperium is primarily... Adeptus Arbites? Is that... Man, I think that was a class that was just added to Darktide? And they kind of look like RoboCop. The Imperium is primarily an interstellar tribute empire, allowing its member worlds to largely govern themselves as long as they recognize the authority of the Emperor and his servants and support the state religion, the Imperial cult, which holds the Emperor to be the one true god of mankind. Every world of the Imperium must also pay the imperial taxes levied on them in the form of troops and material that is known as imperial tithe. I hope I said that right. These resources go to the service of the Astra Militarum and the Navis Imperialis, the armed forces which keep the Imperium united and safe. The imperial tithe supports the overall economy of the Imperium by redistributing resources where needed, usually to shore up one region of the Imperium where conflict is raging by drawing resources from more peaceful sectors. Makes sense? That's a smart move. In general, the Imperium promotes the development of a neo-feudal political system, which the High Lords of Terra and the Inquisition have long believed to be the most stable form of human government. There are few human-settled worlds in the galaxy where any but the most wealthy nobles have any say in the government of their planet, and the imperial establishment general characterizes any movement towards democracy, self-rule, or the overthrow of the neo-feudal system as outright heresy against the divine plan of the God Emperor. This intense need for political stability and the growing military demands upon the imperial system presented by the myriad and growing threats of the 41st millennium have created a repressive and stagnant galactic government. In the present Imperium, science and human progress have essentially been halted in the service to the need to simply maintain the crumbling status quo. It is not for nothing that many imperial scholars consider the current age the time of ending for mankind. Whoa, whoa. Things just got real. That's fascinating. So the Imperium just sounds like it's gotten too big, and maybe the chaos is getting too much control into the minds of the Imperium citizens. Several alien species and dark mystical forces, Chaos, the Tyranids, the craft world Eldari, the Drukhari, the Orcs, the Tau, and the undying Necrons now challenge the supremacy of the Imperium and humanity's predominant place in the galaxy. From within its own creaking and increasingly stagnant and regressive edifice, the Imperium is threatened more insidiously by rebellion, mutation, dangerous psychers, and subversive chaos cults. However, despite its myriad problems, without the admittedly authoritarian and often harsh protection of the Imperium, mankind as a whole would have fallen prey to the countless perils that threatened it. Without the Imperium of man and mankind's faith in the Emperor who guides it, the human species would have become extinct long ago. Okay, and that is the end of the Imperium. Really fascinating. Um, I don't know. I mean, just the key takeaways. I had no idea that the Imperium was such a massive empire. I mean, 1 million colonized worlds, 1 trillion people, and then learning more about the Emperor. Like, yeah, for the Emperor, that just makes me want to praise him more. That was sick. Um, the forces of chaos, man. Those seem Those seem like the real heavy hitters. The orcs, I mean, the orcs, what? They just breed a lot, right? There's just tons of orcs. The Tau, I don't remember the Tau. Necrons, I do remember the Necrons. Necrons are sick. They seem kind of crazy. I'm surprised that they're that big of a threat, I guess, since they're undying. Yeah, I didn't think that there were that many of them, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, and dangerous psychers. Dangerous psychers are a threat to the Imperium. So I'm guessing that that's just psychers in communication with the chaos. Um, man, and what's causing these mutations? Why are people being mutated? I'm curious what that is. If it's pollution, if it's chaos, or if it's just I don't know, just engineering of the time, like technological advancements cause pollution to be thrown in the air or something like this. They got lead in the water. I don't know. Very interesting. I'm very curious to learn more. I'm gonna have to see what to cover next because man, I loved learning about the Imperium of Man. I want to learn more about Terra since that's the Imperium of Man's capital. Like that just seems very sick. I mean, I'm sure that it's a cool place. Warhammer has some of the coolest architecture and buildings out there. It's so sick. So I can't wait to learn more. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know if you guys liked it. Let me know if there's anything you want me to read. I'm getting this information from the wiki, and I would just read the books, but obviously that would be a copyright claim, so I can't just do that. I do plan on getting the books so that while I'm reading the wiki, I can kind of talk about the information in the books at the same time, just to add more to it. But this is awesome. I love being new to this type of stuff because it just makes it so interesting. So cool to learn about it, and becoming an expert on it is like the most fun part about reading lore. Whereas some people say it's silly, like, no, this is just sick. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.